we will turn to the next topic, which is data protection. And it is my pleasure to introduce Leonardo Cervera Navas, Director at the European Data Protection Supervisor, who will talk about digital sovereignty and the promotion of values, EU leadership to support a global convergence of standard and international data flows. Director Cervera Navas, the floor is yours.
Good morning. We do not have much time, so let me go directly to the heart of my speech. I would like to convey a few messages. I will go directly to them. The first one is very simple. Digital sovereignty does not mean digital protectionism. Sovereignty is about alternatives, diversification, and about having an actual choice. Therefore, to be digitally sovereign, as we see it at the EDPS, means being able to define our own rules, to make autonomous technological choices, and to develop and deploy strategical capacities and infrastructures. The second message I would like to convey is that digital sovereignty does not require, at least in all cases, keeping the personal data in the EU, because the EU cannot seclude itself from the rest of the world, first of all. And secondly, because instead of building walls that we know from history are not very efficient, the way forward is promoting our values. This is why at the EDPS, we like to speak about digital values leadership, which is at the core of the EU's ambition to not only be strategically autonomous in digital-driven choices, but also to inspire and promote the same values around the globe, something that the GDPR has managed to achieve very effectively. We believe that data controllers, irrespective of where the data is stored, should have the power to negotiate terms of use or demand changes in the way data is used in accordance with our laws and values. This is why we have ordered our data controllers in the EU institutions and bodies to map and to report to the EDPS the data that they are being transferring to third countries. And that's why we have recently launched 2 high-level investigations on the contractual terms of the most important high-tech service providers of the EU Institute. We believe from the EDPS, moving now to the global arena of data protection, that it is regrettable that more than 40 years after the adoption of the OECD privacy guidelines, we do not have a truly global international convention dealing with the issue of personal data flows. The closest thing to that is Convention 108 Plus, an instrument of the Council of Europe, which is open to any country in the world. And in fact, several non-European countries have signed it or ratified. This need for global standards, and hopefully one day an international convention, have become even more clear after the famous Schrems II ruling of the European Court of Justice in July last year that considered the US Privacy Shield null and void. Since then, both the European Commission and the European Data Protection Board have been very busy adopting a modernized set of standard contractual clauses, a very useful tool to transfer data in the absence of an adequate level of protection in the country of destination, as well as some interpretative guidance about the GDPR and this ruling. We also welcome very much the new impulse that the US and the European Union are giving these days to the transatlantic relationship. And we hope that these talks will lead to a robust and sustainable solution, most probably on the basis of some legislative changes in the US side to avoid what could be a terribly embarrassing Schrems III decision. Personally, I would see the adoption of a US federal privacy law as a very positive development that could facilitate tremendously the negotiations between the US and the EU, and hence get us much closer to a global standard on international data transfer. In conclusion, digital sovereignty means, in our view, that data localization should not be a goal in itself. But at the same time, that when companies or public authorities wish or have to process data in the EU should have a place, it should have in place the right policies to make sure that compliant and relevant infrastructure exists. After the Schrems II judgment, some data flows to the US and other third countries, including from the European institutions, are no longer possible and needs to be stopped. But others are possible and necessary and should still continue. This is why at the EDPS, we support both an intensified dialogue with the United States and other third countries, but at the same time, the development of the necessary policy initiatives to achieve digital sovereignty in place. Thank you very much for your kind attention.
Thank you very much, Director Cervera Navas, for presenting these important matters. And it's very good to see how much activeness the EU shows on the field of data protection.